let's start. Nanney, what did you do for fun when you were my age?
I grew up in a really small town in South Carolina, so everybody knew everybody else. So mostly we rode bikes, we skated on the sidewalks in front of our houses. Sometimes they would rope off the streets so we could skate. The girls jumped rope, hopscotch, that kind of thing.
Okay. What was school like when you were my age?
I thought it was really hard. I guess kids always think school is hard, but I liked it a lot. I had a teacher who was also the principal, so she was not always in our classroom. She had a lot of other duties. I went to school right across the street from my house, so that was nice.
Okay. If you went to the candy store, would a dollar buy a lot of things?
Oh, yes. Goodness. All candy bars were a nickel. That's Hershey bars, Mounds, Babe Ruths, and they were bigger than they are today even. So you could buy a lot of candy for a dollar. You could buy penny candy, big chunks of candy for a penny. Drinks, that's an interesting thing. A Coke. Small Coke bottle was a nickel plus 1 cent tax.
Okay. I wish they had it like that
I
now.
do too.
Were your parents strict?
Yes, I would say that my parents were strict. They probably would say that they were not. But my memory is that they were very strict and they kept a good, they knew where we were. They didn't want us to go very far away from home. But in the neighborhood that I lived, as I said, we knew everybody. So we were allowed to kind of roam around the neighborhood. But we went to church every Sunday and every Wednesday night, and I think they were pretty strict.
Okay. What clothes were popular when you were my age, and what kinds of clothes did you like?
First, I'd like to tell you about my brother's clothes, because I had 2 younger brothers. Boys at that time wore knickers made of corduroy. But they came right below the knee, and they swished when they walked. I remember that. I liked dresses and frilly, girly, feminine dresses.
Okay. Who was president when you were my age?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president when I was your age. He was also president when I was born. He was elected for 4 consecutive terms, the only president that's ever been elected 4 times. So when I was growing up, I really thought that he was going to be the president forever.
Okay. Did you play any sports when you were my age?
Unfortunately, not really. Even the boys didn't play sport. There were no organized sports for children until high school, and even then there was only football, basketball, and baseball for the boys and basketball for the girls. So when I was your age, the only thing that would count for a sport was the things I've talked about: playing outside, roller skating, jumping rope, that sort of thing. We didn't play any sports.
What were your favorite foods when you were my age?
That's a hard one. I was not a very good eater when I was your age, believe it or not. But I think sweet potatoes and fried chicken were my favorite.
Do you think you played inside the house more or outside the house more?
Inside. I like to read and I like to write stories, and I had to practice the piano because I took music lessons. I also took singing lessons. Almost everything I did was inside, except what I've mentioned before.
Okay. Did you have a best friend when you were my age?
Yes, I did, and I remember her very well. Her name was Jeanette, and she lived right next door, and she was exactly my age, and we were in the same class at school, and that was really fun.
Okay. If you went on when you went on vacation, what was your favorite spot that you went to?
My family used to go on vacation once in a while to the mountains. I didn't like that very much. My favorite vacation was the trips that we took to my grandfather's little old scruffy farm in North Carolina, where there were animals, and my brothers and I could run and play, and there were no cars around, there were no highways, we couldn't get hurt. And I used to go stay there for a week with my grandparents in the summer. That was my favorite.
Okay. If you could give me one piece of advice, what would it be?
I guess I would have to say to always be yourself and not try to be something that you're not. To always be true to yourself, be honest, and be a good person.
Okay, that's the last question. Thank you for being here, Nanney, and
Thank
bye.
you for having me. Show one face and then the other.
Yeah,
don't we?
Matthew Summers, and this is my grandmother, Nanney. I am going to interview her today. Let's start. Nanney, what did you do for fun when you were my age?
I lived in a very small town in South Carolina where everybody knew everybody else. The girls mostly played out in front of the house. We played hopscotch, jump rope, or we roller skated on the sidewalks. Everybody had a sidewalk. But I did want to also mention that this was during the Second World War, and the boys in the neighborhood were always playing soldier. That was their favorite game.
Okay, what was school like when you were my age?
I always thought school was hard, but I liked it a lot. I loved going to school. The teacher that I had when I was your age was also the principal of the school. She had other duties, so she would leave us alone in the classroom a lot, but she was a hard teacher and a good teacher. I walked to school right across the street, just like you do, to Tuckahoe Elementary. You don't, but you could.
Wow. If you went to the candy store, how much would $1 buy?
Oh boy, $1 would buy a lot of candy in those days because you could get a small piece of candy for a penny. Hershey bars, Mars bars, Mounds, Baby Ruths, that kind of candy was a nickel per bar, and they were bigger than they are today. Cokes, 8 ounces, were 5 cents plus 1 cent tax.
I wish it was like that now.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Were your parents strict?
I felt that they were strict. They would probably not say so, but I felt that they were very strict. They were very careful about knowing where their children were at all times, and we had curfews. We had times to come in. After school, we had to do our homework before we could go out to play. And every Sunday, we went to church, and every Wednesday night, we went to church. So I thought they were pretty strict.
Okay, what clothes were popular when you were my age, and what kinds of clothes did you like?
The clothes the boys wore to school were corduroy knickers. They came right down below the knee. The reason I mention those is I always thought they made such a swishing sound when they walked. As soon as they came home, though, they took those off because they were their good clothes and their school clothes. So they put on jeans and would wear those to play in after school. I liked feminine, frilly, little girl dresses like all little girls do.
I don't think I would have liked what they wore. I think I like what I wear now better.
I think you're probably right.
Okay, who was president when you were my age?
Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president when I was born, and he was president when I was your age. So he was in there a long time in office. He was the only president who was elected 4 times.
Did you play any sports when you were my age?
Actually, girls didn't play any sports at all, and boys only played in high school when they could play football, basketball, and baseball, and that was it. There were no organized sports. They would play a pickup game out in the yard, but not anything organized.
I like to play soccer now. I don't.
Yeah, not like today. You play a lot of sports today.
If you could, what were your favorite foods when you were my age?
I think mashed potatoes and fried chicken. What's yours?
I like mashed potatoes too, and steak and pizza.
Ooh, yeah. Now, see, we didn't have pizza. There was no such thing as pizza in our town.
Were you good, or did you get in trouble a lot?
Well, to be honest, I have to say I was good. My brothers were always in trouble, but I was normally not in trouble.
Okay. Do you think you played inside the house more or outside the house?
Oh, that's an easy question to answer. There's no doubt about it. I was an inside person, and I stayed inside the house a lot because I like to read, and I started writing little stories when I was about your age. I went to the library, so most of the things, and I practiced music. I took piano lessons, that kind of thing.
Okay. When you went on vacations, what was your favorite place to go?
As I said, this was during the war, and it was difficult to go on vacation some years because there were no tires to be bought for your car. So everybody was being very careful. Plus, gas was rationed, and you couldn't always buy gas. Once in a while, we did go to the mountains when I was younger, but my favorite vacation was visiting my grandfather's scruffy little old farm in North Carolina, where my brothers and I could run free and not have to worry about traffic or anything.
I think I would like to go to a farm too.
That was fun.
If you could give me one piece of advice, what would it be?
Well, I think you're going to be a wonderful young man, but I think I would say to you to always be yourself, not ever try to be anything that you're not, be honest, and be a good person.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for being here, Nanney.
Thank you for having me. He probably didn't want
Matthew, give her a kiss.
Mom, don't stop it there.
It's not on. Give her a kiss. I'm not going to turn it off till you give her a
It
kiss.
is.
We see the light.
Matthew, give her a kiss and I'll turn it off.
Matthew.
All right, that's it.